Welcome back. Thank you for joining me. I thought with Thanksgiving around the corner, I'm going to read some pre-Thanksgiving drama stories to you. If you're anticipating some Thanksgiving drama this year, you are not the only one. Timestamps in the description box. Story number 1. Opie writes, I, 29 female, recently found out that my mother-in-law is spreading a bunch of lies about me and my marriage to my brother-in-law's ex-wife, who cheated on him for months. She also said she's her favorite daughter-in-law. She was saying that I spent all of his money to the point we are overdrafted every 2 weeks because I can't stay off of Amazon. I barely patron Amazon, and we are never overdrafted in our bank. She claimed I also am buying my mom stuff all the time. I don't know where that comes from. She said my husband only stays with me for our son as well. She really must not know how her son is with me. He literally worships me, and don't worry, that is returned, of course. The one that really bothers me is she keeps telling people I don't cook and I don't clean. I don't have a job, so the household is my job, and I work hard to keep it clean. She also said I mistreat my kids. She claims I scream at them and call them names. I don't ever. After learning all of this, I called my husband in tears. He was pissed. He is already on rocky terms with his parents because of how they favor his brother's 32 kids over ours. I get that maybe there could be a stronger bond because my mother-in-law has a 3-year-old niece every day while brother-in-law works. Brother-in-law has primary custody. After hubby got out of work, he stopped by the place to confront mother-in-law. She denied it up and down, but my husband said he could tell she was caught. He told her to keep our marriage out of her gossip, and this was her only warning. Instead of taking accountability for her actions, she blamed me. She called me, said I was ruining her baby boy, and she couldn't wait for the day he opened his eyes and left me. I told her she was officially uninvited to Thanksgiving at our house. She said there was no way at all hubby would allow that. But he got home while she was screaming at me through the phone. So he took the phone from me and said she wasn't coming, then hung up. Well, now half his family are trying to guilt trip us into allowing her here. My husband said he is firm in not allowing her to come, but as the days go by, things are worse. I'm being called evil, heartless, etc. She keeps calling, leaving voicemails of her sobbing, but in her voicemails to me, she's still saying vile things about me. I do feel bad for my husband, and I'm wondering if maybe not allowing his mom here is a bad move. I love him and I want him happy, and I can tell he is a little sad. I've spoken to him about it and said that if not having her there would make him upset, that I would be civil with her for him and she could come. He told me no, that he chose me to spend his life with, and he will keep putting me first. But I don't know, I kind of feel like an a-hole now. So, am I the a-hole here? I could be, because I guess I could have just ignored it. But the whole reason I found out is because my nephew was present, and he told everyone what she said. Just totally inappropriate. Opie, you're not the a-hole here. Your mother-in-law has been spreading lies about you, making you look bad. And I'm glad that your husband is sticking by your side. It's your home. Your mother-in-law is definitely not grateful or thankful to have you in her life. So why would you want to share Thanksgiving with her? Don't back down on this. Your mother-in-law needs to learn that there are consequences to her actions. In this case, her lies. Let's move to story number 2. Opie writes, I, 23 female, and my boyfriend, 31 male, have lived together for 2 years. Last year, we hosted a huge Thanksgiving dinner at our house, and his parents, his sister, and her 3 children came. Her 2 youngest children were 5 and 2 years old at this time. We had just finished furnishing our house with a brand new sectional dining table and chairs, and a 10-piece outdoor furniture set for our deck. During dinner, I sat next to my boyfriend's mom and sister, who was holding the youngest child. I watched as they let the child rub cranberry sauce all over my brand new cream-colored dining chairs. They said nothing and did nothing to stop it. My friends who were there said they could see the steam coming out my ears. It was my first holiday with his family, and I didn't want to lose my temper in front of everyone. So I waited until they left the table and started scrubbing the chairs, trying to get the stains out, some of which are still there a year later. They never apologized to me for letting their children trash my house, and this wasn't the first time they've done it. They came over a couple of months before this and smeared melted chocolate all over my cream-colored cushions on my brand new outdoor furniture, again while the parents sat there and watched. A couple of days after Thanksgiving, I mentioned all of this to my boyfriend, and he agreed it was rude, but said it was ultimately my decision if I wanted to continue inviting them over. It's been over a year now, and I haven't invited them over since, and his mother has started dropping hints about getting together at our house again. But I know if I invite his parents over, they'll want to invite the sister. Next week, I'm hosting Thanksgiving again, but only inviting my family. Am I the a-hole for not wanting my boyfriend's feral nieces to destroy my home? OP, people work hard to buy furniture, etc. to make their homes nice and cozy and a peaceful place for themselves. No one has the right to go into somebody else's house and damage their possessions. And you can't blame the children really, because it's the parents that are responsible for them. Maybe they don't care anymore in their own house what the children do, but this is your house. If something like that happens, an accident, whatever, you apologize and you try to make it right. So I understand why you don't want them there. OP, some people use their children to disrespect other people. So that could be what's going on here as well. I understand if you don't want the children back in your house until they are quite a bit older. And it's kind of sad because it's really the parents' responsibility, not the kids. Not at that age. Anyway, good luck to you explaining that to his sister and his mom. Let's move on to story number 3. OP writes, my wife is a grade A+ picky eater. It's bothersome to a certain degree, but on holidays, basically the crap show begins. She'd refuse to eat certain meals, and Mom would take it personally, which results in a series of arguments between them. As a compromise this year, my wife offered to bring her own food to Thanksgiving dinner. I was stunned. I asked if she thought this through, and she looked at me confused. I told her about how weird it would be for her to bring her own food, especially when she wouldn't be sharing it with anybody else, and told her to think about how Mom will react. She'd get very offended and upset. My wife said that it's not her problem, and that she was just trying to make it work by bringing her own meal. I told her again that Mom might not like nor even allow this. She blew up at me asking if I wanted to either eat food she doesn't like or go hungry. I suggested she give my mom's food a chance, but she said it wasn't about my mom's cooking. She just doesn't like certain foods. We had an argument, and I ended up telling her she could stay home this Thanksgiving and have whatever meal she likes. She got quiet, then lashed out at me, calling me insensitive and negative to say this to her. I repeatedly asked her to calm down, but she couldn't stop ranting about how I was basically willing to exclude her from a major event. She started cold shouldering me about it, while at the same time guilting me, saying I'm treating her poorly, after she offered the, quote, perfect compromise, unquote. Update. And so my wife has decided to spend Thanksgiving with her family, who by the way live hours away. So this means unnecessary travel expenses instead, and basically ditch me for a whole week. You all happy now? Though I appreciate some insightful comments on the situation, some others not so much, especially with those assumptions claiming that my wife has allergies. She does not. You all get that from? But anyway, so all good now, I guess, though I'm not thrilled with her decision. I feel like she's doing it to spite me or get me to cave in. Okay, Opie, let's talk about the food thing first. You said your wife is a very picky eater. I'm sure you knew this about her before you married her. And she said she doesn't like Thanksgiving food. Some people just don't like certain types of food. And that's just the way it is. I can understand that it's upsetting to your mom when she's been making food all day and then your wife doesn't want to eat it. But this is the situation. And I think the solution is a reasonable solution. What I don't understand, Opie, is why you are upset that your wife is going to spend Thanksgiving with her family after you told her she can't spend it with your family. What did you think she was going to do? Stay at home like a little child being punished? So, Opie, that is just going to be your Thanksgiving. And maybe you can use this opportunity to talk to your mom calmly about it. And who knows, maybe next Thanksgiving, you can all come to a compromise. Maybe your wife can make certain foods that she enjoys and everybody can have some of that if they want. On to story number 4. Opie writes, my husband was on the phone with mother-in-law and father-in-law last night, and they asked him if we are making the drive 7 hours for Thanksgiving with them. He said we will not be going this time because I am in my 3rd trimester and we don't want to make the trip because it's just too difficult. We also have 3 birds that we have to travel with and it's extremely difficult with them. I'm also saving up my annual leave so I can take some extra days off after maternity leave. Apparently, they were having a great conversation before he told them we can't make it. So, of course, mother-in-law had to snap back and make sure she earned time out. So she told my husband, quote, oh, okay. Well, me, Dad, and husband's brother will be having Thanksgiving like we always do. Just like we hosted it all these years when you were growing up. By the way, how are Opie's parents doing? Any new surprises with them since they always have so many surprises come up and you have to make the drive for them, unquote. By, quote, surprises, unquote, she was referring to 2 trips we made back home for my parents because, 1, my elderly dad was physically assaulted in the middle of the street, which they previously made fun of because apparently my dad didn't look like he was beat up. And another time this year, 2, he was hospitalized in the ICU for 1.5 months for major health issues. These people are absolutely disgusting. Mother-in-law and father-in-law can go to hell for all I care. I'm so disgusted and feel sick to my stomach. My husband said he instantly changed the tone of the conversation and told them not to worry. My parents will actually be visiting us and spending lots of time with us before the baby comes, and ended the call. Today, mother-in-law is on Facebook sharing quotes about how Cristiano Ronaldo still lives with his mom and will never leave her, and how he's eternally grateful for his selfless mom. Okay, Opie, I'm just going to bite my tongue about Cristiano Ronaldo's mother. But as for your mother-in-law and your father-in-law, it's very telling how bitter your mother-in-law became the moment she realized that the 2 of you wouldn't be spending Thanksgiving with them, even though you have a very good reason not to want to make that long trip. But the thing that stood out for me is when she said that she, her husband, and your brother-in-law will continue to celebrate Thanksgiving exactly the same way that they've done when the 2 brothers were growing up, her sons. I see this as a problem with a lot of families when the children grow up and they have significant others of their own and they start their own traditions. There are parents that get really very upset about that instead of understanding that things have changed and it's not going to be the same as it was when their children were still young. I do understand wanting those traditions to continue and having all the children there, but people also have to realize that their children as adults will start their own traditions. You and your husband will just have to navigate your way through all of that like everybody else has to when it comes to the holidays, whatever those holidays are. But unfortunately, your mother-in-law said some really uncalled for things about your parents. And that's the real problem here. And it's going to take a while to get over that. Hopefully, Opie, your mother-in-law will realize how wrong she was and she will apologize to you. Well, that's it for this edition. Thank you once again for allowing me to read these stories to you. And if you did like it, please give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing, leave a comment, and I look forward to spending time with you again real soon. I hope your Thanksgiving is going to be drama-free. Bye.